Well, it's Thursday, and you all know what that means. That doesn't mean just because we're going to be reviewing, as always, with TNA and Ring of Honor. As you know, WrestleMania week has begun. So that means the entire remaining of the week is going to be chaotic. We're going to have plenty of shows coming in. We got the Collective, we got WrestleMania, we got plenty of other things as well. However, one of those particular shows for WrestleMania week, the one we're going to review, is of course Stardom American Dream 2024. It features two title matches, the high speed title and the World of Stardom title, and plenty other more as well. But we also, of course, going to do one of GLEAT's recent shows, GLEAT G Pro Wrestling 71, I believe. That's right. Nothing too significant, but it only has two co-main events. The first one is, of course, the G Infinity Tag titles, the current champion Shima, and of course, what's his name? Kaz Hayashi defend their belts in their first title defense against Quiet Storm and Arashi. And then, of course, we have a no ropes match between, of course, the leader of Yan's family, Takanori Ito, and then taking on the newest member of Bulk Orchestra, So Daimonji. So we'll see how that rolls up. And then, of course, we got a very short news updates with all of you, with two updates on two different promotions and a very interesting developments regarding the boys being released on why they were released from AW/ Ring of Honor. So let's get ready for another episode of the Leaded Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Leaded Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also do more news updates. If I'm unable to put it on this episode, I can put it on a separate video by itself. We also do real timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something interesting has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be alerted to all of you. We also do the Nagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool things as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us. So click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool stuff on this channel as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have set aside. I believe it's time to get the show on the road. So let's begin with our very first review, and I believe this is GLEAT G Pro Wrestling version 671. Okay, GLEAT G Pro Wrestling version 71. This is just a recent event that took place. This has nothing to do with WrestleMania week, in case anybody asks. This particular event, I believe, took place in Jinjuku Face. But let's get started. Our first match, we have members of the Yans family, consisting of Issei Onitsuka, Masato Kamino, and Yusuke Kodama. They take on the members of Bork Orchestra, consisting of Kaz Sakamoto, the leader Ryuichi Kawakami, and of course our current G-Rex champion Hayato Tamura. Now, nothing too significant, but we do know that the leader of Yan's family is taking on the newest member of the Bulk Orchestra, So Daimonji. So that kind of plays out because, as you know, they've been at war with each other for quite some time over the fact who is the top faction within GLEAT. So that's always been a very factor in various promotions when it comes to factions. So that pretty much played out. But however, it was, of course, um, Kawakami with a diving body splash onto Kodama to pick up the win. However, things got out of hand when, of course, so the Daimonji got in the face of Takanori Ito, but that doesn't mean anything. But of course, Bork Orchestra did put out a very interesting promo. I don't know what they said. There's no translation, but nonetheless, um, as I said before, they're trying to prove a lot of things. But we'll see what happens from here on out. Our next match, we have Yuya Suzumu and Soma Watanabe taking on um, Tetsuya Izushi and Minoru Tanaka. We have seen Izushi has become a lot better when it comes to not only winning his matches, but also doing submission moves or technical aspects in his wrestling craft. And I thought it was a pretty good one because at Zoom I thought it was Minoru Tanaka who would actually pick up the win due to the fact that he has more experience than him. But I was officially wrong. It was, of course, Minoru Tanaka with no, it was Tetsuya Izushi who picked up the win when he applied an armbar on Soma Watanabe, and just like that, it was completely over. Now, our next match, we have a bit of a, how do I say, a rookie versus an experienced wrestler. Now, El Lindemann, as you know, is more of has an experience in wrestling for a long time. He takes on this guy named Go Miyake. Um, Go Miyake, I don't know much about him, but I have to say he throw in a good impression. He's almost has like the same kind of fighting spirit as El Lindemann. I mean, El Lindemann, he is a very small dude, but he is a very powerful wrestler for his size, who does powerhouse type. But um, Miyake actually learned the hard way after he got put through a German suplex. 1, 2, 3. It was over. Just like that. Now, our next match, we have tag team action. We got the members of Strong Hearts consistent of Takehiro Yamamura and T-Hawk. They take on Riki Atsutaki and Shuji Ishikawa. So nothing too significant of this, but we have seen Ishikawa make appearances recently with GLEAT in other locations since leaving All Japan. But it's great that he was there. But he was the one, in fact, who picked up the win by pinning Yamamura, and just like that, it was completely over. Our next match, we have a bit of a intergender six-person tag match. Well, there's only one female in this one. Michiko teams up with Yu Izuka and Jun Tonsho. They take on the members of BGI, Black Generation International, uh, Kataro Suzuki, Hartley Jackson, and Kaito Ishida. Of course, BGI has been the one faction that believes that they are the number one faction within GLEAT, which of course has been obvious. But in this case, it was Hartley Jackson who picked up the win when he applied a packaged pile driver onto Tonsho, and just like that, it was win. And then all hell broke loose when BGI decided to attack. And then all of a sudden, here comes Tetsuya Izushi. I thought he was there to help. It turned out the bastard turned turncoat by siding with BGI. I don't know why. I know that Ishida has been was criticizing him and all this, or this was a plot for him to convince, hey, you know, no one gives a shit about you. Join us instead. So I don't know exactly what was going on. If that was Ishida's plan, then it worked. So now Izushi is a member of Black Generation International. What a shocker. But yeah, that's what happened. Now our next match is the G Infinity Tag Titles. We have Kuma Arashi and Quiet Storm being the first challengers. This is, of course, the first defense by Shima and Kaz Hayashi. Now remember, these guys won these titles in a tag tournament after the Saito brothers had to relinquish the belts due to the fact that Risato got hurt. But right now we have brand new champions. This is their first title defense. I thought this was a pretty good one because you look at Kuma and Quiet Storm. These two guys are two of the most powerhouses dudes in this match. Shima and Kaz Hayashi, both junior heavyweight competitors in some capacity that switched into heavyweight. I thought it was a pretty impressive match, but you would have assumed that Kaz Hayashi would have lost this match after one defense. Nope. Somehow he was able to pull off an upset, but well, not an entire upset, but more of a upset, knowing that you did not expect it. He applied out a crucifix onto Kuma, and just like that, it was over. They just couldn't believe it. Even, of course, the entire members of Bulgastra were not too pleased with the idea how this ended, but it happened. Referee called it 1, 2, 3 in the middle. But the real question is, what's next for now for Shima and Kaz? Well, it appears Kaz Hayashi called out Michiko. I don't know what she said, but I'm going to presume they want to defend the tag titles against her and a partner for choosing. So I don't know who she'll choose, but we'll see where that leads. Now, our main event is a no ropes match between So Daimonji and Takanori Ito. Now, these two have been in a rubber match. The first match they encountered each other, it was Daimonji who won, but he did that by cheating. Takanori Ito won by, you know, a clean fight. However, it was more like, okay, this is a tie. Someone has to break it. So this is a no ropes match. This is similar like what we see with Bloodsport and of course the NXT and slash Raw Underground. But much devastating you wouldn't imagine. I mean, these guys were pounding the crap out of each other. So I thought it was interesting. However, there was a moment where of course Ito actually suplexed Daimonji out, but his head hit the apron and just landed on the floor. I'm like, damn, that is crazy. But it did not stop there. It was, of course, Ito who won by a TKO. So it was over. So I think the rubber match is officially done between both these men. So we'll see what happens on the next time. But at this moment, we'll just end things with GLEAT on right here and move on with our next review. And I believe some of you may be excited to see this one. We're talking about Stardom, American Dream. Okay, Stardom, American Dream. This is their first show in many years since they've done. I think maybe 5 or 6 years. I'm not sure, but yes, it's great that they came to America to do a show, and I'm so excited to review. And I think many of you are probably expecting me to do this one, regardless. Well, I'm not here to disappoint, but let's get this started. Our first match, the high speed title, in a three-way match. We have, of course, Ram Kaicho, the former champion Saki Kashima, and Mei Sita. Now, I knew there was going to be some interesting moments in this match. I mean, we know Kashima. She likes to take things a bit more slower at her own pace. It's always her signature in some capacity. And I thought it was great to see that. But, however, I wasn't too sure how this was going to be. But there was a moment where Kaicho and Kashima were in fact playing dead. The ref decided to go, instead of counting on a normal pace, he's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6. When they reached 8, they got up quickly. I'm like, so you're playing possum. That makes sense. But I think the interesting part, Ram Kaicho actually ectoplasma, uh, what's her name? May sit up, but this allowed Kashima to apply the Kishikasi onto Maysita to pick up the win. And now she's a two-time high-speed champion. I'm like, whoa. So I don't know why. I think some people are finding it a little like she didn't have that belt for long, but it is what it is. But it's gonna be interesting. I'm pretty sure maybe Stardom Field they want her to concentrate as the current tag champion with Zuzu. I'm not 100% sure. I would want to believe that that's what they're going for, but we'll see. Now, our next match, we have a 6-woman tag match. We have Cameron Brené, or as you all know her, formerly from WWE NXT, Amari Miller. Yes, I wasn't too sure. I actually went online to check look her name, and it's her, Amari Miller. Now goes by Cameron. I'm so happy to see her. She teams up with Queen's Quest, Sayakamitani Azumi. However, their opponents they have to deal with is members of Oedo Tai, consisting of Starlight Kid and Momo Watanabe, along with the current New Japan Strong Women's Champion Stephanie Vakir. Now, to be honest with you, I feel Stephanie Vakir is a perfect fit for Oedo Tai. Like, if they want to have someone from Mexico to be representing Oedo Tai down there, she'd be the logical choice, to be honest with you. But as for Cameron, I feel like she could fit in completely with Queen's Quest. But yeah, I would definitely see that. But the match was pretty good. Not to mention, we know the history between Queen's Quest and Oedo Tai goes deeper. But I was surprised how this match ended because they put in Stephanie Vakir versus Cameron. Um, but it was Stephanie who picked up the win by pinning um, Cameron, and then after that, Azumi got into the face of Stephanie Vakir. Now, I want to put a pause on this one because I want to talk to you guys about Cameron. What do I think? I have to say it's great to see her. I think some people would think that she probably would be making her way to AEW. But to be honest with you, if I was her, I would definitely try to do a tour with Japan. I mean, it would be an awesome experience for her, not only to explore the culture, but also at the same time to sharpen her wrestling craft. And I think it would be an opportunity if that presented. I mean, it did work for Mariah May, and look where it led her. But yeah, I have to say that's what I look forward to it. Now, our next match, we have Saki from Colors and also an ally of Cosmic Angels teaming up with Willow Nightingale. They take on God's Eyes Konami and Shooty. I was so impressed with this match. I think many people got behind Willow because, we all know her. We enjoy her presence. Uh, but she's facing against two competitors who are excellent strikers. They kick hard and all that. But unfortunately, it was um, Willow with the Dr. Bomb onto Konami, and just like that, they won. Now, our next match, we have the one-time reunite of Club Venus, consistent of Zaya Brookside, Mariah May, and Mina Shirakawa, taking on members of Stars, consistent of Momokogo and Mayu Iwatani, along with Tam Nakano. So it's interesting that, of course, we're going to see a bit of not a showdown, but more of a confrontation between Mina and Tam. We know their history. Mina used to be a member of Cosmic Angels and all this and that. But it was Tam who picked up the win with the Twilight Dream onto Zaya Brookside to pick up the win, which was a huge disappointing loss with Club Venus. But out of nowhere, we just saw the appearance of Timeless Tony Storm. Now, when I read about this, I wasn't too sure what it was going to happen because someone posted that Mina was not impressed with Tony Storm. However, it appears that this is becoming a battle between Tony Storm and Mina because of Mariah May. Mariah May is now caught in the middle between these two. Mina has always been a good friend to Mariah May since her time in Japan. As for Tony Storm, well, Mariah has worshipped her, and she said she always wanted to beat her. Well, that's going to be interesting. But Tony Storm did say that the forbidden door is always open. Now, I did mention this to certain people up front about this, and I said, I wouldn't be surprised that if somehow Tony Storm was able to retain the women's title at Dynasty or Double or Nothing, I wouldn't be surprised if she has it all the way to Forbidden Door and faces Mina, because it's no secret that Mina has challenged for the top titles. I mean, she already did that with the red belt. She did that with the IWGP women's belt. AEW women's belt, well, that would be a possibility. But we will see what happens until then. Now, our next match, we have the World of Stardom Championship, better known as the Red Belt. So we have Megan Bayne and Micah. Now, it's no secret that Megan Bayne has preceded this belt before, and she lost to Tam Nakano, I think was last year. Yes, last year. Uh, but Micah was the one who wanted this way, not because she thought it would be a perfect opportunity. I think she feels like she wants to test herself into a much stronger, uh, powerful person like Megan Bayne. But not to mention, she is her tag partner. That would be. But man, these ladies did not hold any punches. I think Megan Bayne knows that. I think she knows she can't put her friendship with Micah in the ring in front of them. They have to put that to the side because they have to fight for this belt. And unfortunately, Micah did do that by applying the Michinoku driver and winning the match. However, Momo Watanabe showed up, and not to mention everybody were giving her a nice pop. But I had a feeling I knew what she was going to do. I thought about this the moment this whole thing started. She went to see Micah because she feels that she will not be denied. We know that Momo Watanabe has been long for a shot of the red belt. Of course, she has chased it before, but now it's like it's her time. It's time for her to step up her game on that. So Micah said that it will happen at the All Star Queendom in April. So we'll see what happens until then. So it looks like it's going to be official on that. So I think that's pretty much it right now with Stardom. I believe it's time to move on with our next review, and that is TNA. Okay, TNA. We'd open up with an old school rules match. Now, if you guys remember, about a couple of weeks ago, Mustafa Ali feels that there should be a weight limit because of the X Division, feeling that there should be. But the point of the X Division was no limit. So later he said something about Rhino. Mustafa Ali thought this was about his belt. Nope, it had nothing to do with it. It's about him getting his butt whooped. That's what was about. So of course Rhino was gonna try. But the real question is, can Mustafa Ali do that? Well, he did not do that because apparently he had his flunkies of a security guard to do his job, and that allowed for Mustafa Ali to put to move out of the way while Rhino was about to gore him, and it was completely over when Mustafa Ali pinned him. But during the post match, Jake Something showed up. The security guard was brave enough but foolish enough to get in the face of Jake Something, and then Jake Something just you know put him in a power bomb. Well, this is what you get for being stupid. So should Mustafa Ali be more concerned now, even though he cannot do nothing about the fact that the X Division title is a no limit title, meaning there's no weight division? Well, he can't do nothing about that. Now, Gia Miller conducts an interview with Alex Hammerstone. The question that people is, why is he not acknowledging Josh Alexander, calling him out? Well, he gave his, how do I say, his case, and he explained, I'm not going to do this on your time, pal. I'm going to do this on mine. So I called my shot. So he called his shot. He said that he will face Alexander at Rebellion. However, things got out of hand when he decided to use the camera guy to for his sick, twisted mental games, trying to say, "This is you, Alexander. I'm gonna break you in half." But yeah, so hopefully the camera guy's okay, but we'll see what happens until we get to Rebellion. Our next match, we have the Rascals, Zachary Wentz and Trey Miguel taking on the new era of the FBI, the full-blooded Italians. Little Guido introduced his current faction of the FBI, Zach Clayton, who you guys know completely from the Jersey Shore. It's no secret he was part of AEW for a while, but now he's part of this group. He teams up with Ray Jazz. So you would think this match was going to go normally. However, at some point, Ray Jazz was this close about to do something on top of the corner buckle, but Myron Reed sprayed something into the eyes onto Little Guido. He just randomly appeared. But this gave, of course, Trey Miguel to stomp on Ray Jazz, and just like that, it was over. So completely now we see the Rascals in full force with Myron Reed. Now we do see Jonathan Gresham. It looks more like he's doing therapy. But the guy who was talking to him, I wasn't too sure who it was until I saw his mouth. I wasn't too sure because it kind of looked like JTG from Crime Time. I'm not sure. It looked like them, but I'm not 100%. But we'll see what happens until then. Now, Gia Miller does another interview with, of course, Speedball Mountain, Trent Seven, and Mike Bailey, talking about their upcoming match at Rebellion for the tag titles, and of course, the System, who show up out of the blue, saying that there is no way they're going to win the belt. But Trent Seven decided that he wants to have a match against Moose. Moose is like saying, "Well, be careful what you wish for." Well, I don't think Trent Seven cares, but we'll see where that leads us. Now, our next match, we have Chris Bay taking on Frank Kazarian. Now, Ace Austin was by his side. Of course, he was being a support system. But however, Frank Kazarian couldn't do anything to try to take him out. However, Frank Kazarian played a little game by framing Ace Austin and forcing the ref to deject them. But it did allow for Frankie to apply his dirty tricks. And then, of course, he applied the black onto Chris Bay, and just like that, he won. So sooner or later, someone's gonna take him out. Now, it's later been told that Kelly is no longer with TNA. However, Masha does have a rematch for the TNA Knockouts champion. So the real question is, who will be her tag partner? Well, Alicia Edwards decided to step up to be her tag partner because she feels like I need a title with the System. But Masha's like not having it, but she told her just think about it. I hardly think that Masha is in a position to have someone like Alicia who's not in the same level as her. I think that's going to be a thing. She needs to find someone who's in the same level as her. So we'll see where that leads us. Now, our next match, we have Xia Brookside versus Ash Elegance. Of course, Xia Brookside got into a bit of a pickle with Ash by Elegance, and then that stupid stooge, the cousin, already got in the way too. Now, you would think that this match was going to be a very interesting one. However, Ash by Elegance try to do some interesting tactics in order to assure the win, and then that stooge decided to toss wine into the eyes of Xia Brookside, while Renwall is stupid to say that, oh, he got scared. Nope, this was payback for what happened to get them even. And of course, Ash by Elegance pinned the match. I wouldn't be surprised if, by any means necessary, Xia Brookside will get her revenge against both of them. So that would be interesting to see. Now, as the ABC questions what's been happening recently, of course, Bay lost and all this, but AJ Francis and Swan showed up. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure they're trying to build this faction comprised of African Americans, and I'm sure they're trying to pull Chris Bay in this. But Bay is like telling Ace Austin, what the hell is he talking about? So, yeah, so we'll see about that. Now, Gia Miller conducts her final interview of the day with talking to Steph Delanders and of course that piece of garbage, the so-called king of the death match. Nope, he's not a king. He only had one match. A real king has multiple matches. And then of course, the idea is Steph Delander wants the TNT title, and Cardona hasn't forgotten that he was the one who beat her for the digital media title. So we'll see what that leads us from here on out. Now, our main event, we had Alex Shelley versus Nick Meneth. I thought this match was pretty awesome. I think it was a lot of fun and impressive. I mean, you would have. I think I was a bit biased on this one because they're both excellent wrestlers. but it was Nick Bennett with the Danger Zone that sealed the deal. So I have to say he's building up a bit more momentum before Rebellion. So we'll see where that leads us from here on out. So I think we're done with TNA. I believe it's time to move on with our last and final review, Ring of Honor. Okay, Ring of Honor. Now we opened up with, of course, this is the final go home show before we head to how do I say this? Oh yeah, with Supercard of Honor. And the opening match is a proving ground match for the ROH World Tag Team titles. We have the Infantry, Carly Bravo, and Sean Dean taking on the Undisputed Kingdom, Mike Bennett and Matt Taven. I was impressed by this match. Now, of course, Taven and Bennett have been a very strong, cohesive team. They have won these titles who knows how many times. But you would have assumed that this match would have been fall into a favor to divert the fact that they don't want to face anybody. But unfortunately, because the match ended in a time limit draw, apparently they were mistaken. Because they lasted this long, but by interest of fairness, the infantry gets a shot of the ROH tag team titles. But Carly Bravo called the shot for his team and he told them, let's make this happen at Supercard of Honor. So basically, it's going to happen. It's now official. Now, during an exclusive interview, Matt, both Taven and Bennett, they seem unhinged over this. Now, Bennett said that he respects the fact that both of these men served in our armed forces here in the U.S., but this is a war they're going to be entering that, of course, Bennett and Taven have been for a long time. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, Kyle Fletcher, as you know, he will be mentally prepared and defend the ROH World Television title against Lee Johnson. Now, Fletcher did remind him that how he won this belt. Of course, Lee Johnson hasn't forgotten, but the real question I think Lee Johnson wants him to think, how much has changed since then? We have seen Lee Johnson. He's totally undefeated so far. So that's going to be the obvious question. So should Fletcher be concerned the fact that what if things have changed? What if he's not the same guy you beat him for the title? So that's going to be the real question. Now, our next match, we have Anna Jay versus Nikita. Now, we have seen Nikita appear in both Ring of Honor and AEW recently. Uh, I can tell you that this match ended Anna Jay's favor since Nikita is an enhancement. She applied the gory bomb, and that pretty much it. Now, we will see. Now, as you know, Dalton Castle and Johnny TV will face each other at Super Card of Honor. So they both said some things to say to them and all that. So I don't need to go for it. So we all know certain things about that. Excuse me. Okay. Our next match, we have Nick Camarado versus Lee Johnson. Now, it's no secret that these two know each other since their factory days led by QT Marshall. So basically, that's going to be the thing. But one thing that was interesting, Jacoby Watts was right there watching. I don't know what's going on right there. So I think he may have some keen interest in Nick Camarado. But Lee Johnson, who took every beating from a big, powerful, strong guy, would have been an easy thing, but unfortunately, he picked up the win by applying the frog splash, allowing for Lee Johnson to win. However, now he's building up the momentum before Supercard of Honor, where he challenges for the ROH World Television title. Now, we do see a little interview with Lex Senior conducting with Cole Carter and Griff Garrison. Uh, Carter is going on edge about where the hell is Maria. Apparently, they Serpentico tricked them by signing a contract saying they will face them at 0 hour at the Supercard of Honor. So they hoped that Maria was going to be there. So I don't know what they were thinking. Now, our next match, we have Nyla Rose versus Alexia Nicole. It's great to see her. If you guys never seen Alexia Nicole, she was part of Impact Wrestling for a short time until the pandemic hit. We haven't seen her since then, but she has been wrestling in Canada since then. But she has made appearances in AEW as an enhancement. I don't like to call them jobbers. I feel like that's like a cruel word. But I can tell you this match ended with Nyla Rose winning, so you probably guessed that anyway. Now Lexi Nair conducts another interview with Nick Camarado, and then of course Jacoby Watts showed up. It seems like he has a keen interest in making Nick Camarado be something that he is destined to be. We'll see where that leads, but it would be obvious. Now, since Ring of Honor were in Canada, one of their local favorites, Evil Uno, showed up and he took on London Lightning. You would say it was gonna be falling into Evil Uno. He did the move something evil, and just like that, he won. Now, what's his name? And then of course we just received a very interesting video package with the premier athletes making the return. We haven't seen them for quite some time. We haven't seen Davari, we haven't seen Josh Woods or Tony Nese, but it's great. I think that's the reason that maybe Slim J, I think the whole Trust Busters thing was done. I think they want to focus more on the premier athletes. I think that would make sense. So we'll see where that leads. Now, we do see a contract signing for the ROH women's title. Athena showed up along with the Minions, Lexi Nair, and Billy Starks. However, Hikaru Shida did show up, but she did state that she wasn't alone. So she brought in the other person who will be facing Billy Starks for the ROH Women's World Television title. And of course, things got out of hand. But right now, I think the real question is no denying that Athena is the longest reigning women's champion. But is threatened now the fact that Hikaru Shida's there, because the way Shida's saying, she's already in her head, and she's not wrong. I mean, she is scared knowing that she's facing against someone who's been at the top. So that is something. But of course, things got out of hand. Uh, Queen Aminata gave her a headbutt, and then of course Hikaru Shida put it through a table, and that was pretty much it. Now, we did sit a little sit down together face to face between Mark Briscoe and Eddie Kingston. Now, it's no secret that almost 11 years ago, Jay White won his first ROH World Television title. So, that pretty much it, that if he wins this match, he's honoring the memory of his brother. Eddie Kingston, in the hand, respects Mark Briscoe. So he knows that means a lot, because there's been many great names who has held that belt, including Jay Briscoe. Eddie told him, he was being honest, saying, look, I won't lose to you. I cannot lose to you. So he said that this is going to be a very pinnacle thing. So I think we're going to see a very interesting matchup between them. Now, our next match, we have our main event. We have a trios match. Jack Cartwheel, Matt Sydal, and Christopher Daniels taking on Action Andretti, Top Flights, Dante, and Darius Martin. I thought this match was going to be fantastic. Of course, Cartwheel, we know what he can do. We know the reputations between both Matt Sydal and Christopher Daniels. But it was a very interesting combination with Top Flight and Action Andretti, as always. I mean, they should be making their way for the trios belts. I don't care if it's in AEW or Ring of Honor, but they should. But it was Action Andretti who applied a 450 on Jack Cartwheel, giving them the match. So we'll see where that leads us from here on out. So I think that's pretty much it for now. Let's just move on with our last and final thing, and it's going to be news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So this is going to be a very short one. Now let's begin with the promotional updates with Spark and West Coast Pro. Now for the Spark show that's going to happen this Sunday, it was announced for the Trailblaze event, the Spark Joshi World title will be defended. Billy Starks will defend the belt against Sumi Sakai. So Sumi Sakai issued the challenge, and presto, this match is going to happen. So I'm looking forward to hearing this. Hopefully, I get to see it. I want to see it. And then, of course, we have finally the West Coast Pro Show for the coast that will happen on the 18th of May. Vinny Marsario will be in action to take on Jeff Cobb. So that's going to be interesting. Now, for some interesting developments that's been going on. Now, as you know, I did report it that AEW had some releases. Now, amongst those releases were the boys, uh, Brandon and Brent. Now, why were they released from the company? Well, that's a good, obvious question, but I think it's an understandable reason. It turned out that the reasons they were released from the company was because they did not show up to work uh, on more than one occasion. So basically, this was a bit of how do I say? Oh boy, irresponsible of these two not to show up. Now, sources were saying that the locker room has been made aware of this situation, that both the Tate brothers didn't even bother showing up. So this was a tough call by, I'm assuming, Tony Khan, because he does. I don't think he wants people you are scheduled to work, but you decide not to show up or call in or whatever. But I have to say it was the right decision, because here's the thing, guys. I don't know if any of you work your regular day jobs. Me, when it comes to me, I show up late, but not because I show up late. I show up late because there's traffic in the goddamn morning. That's how it works for me. Because those who those who know this in the San Diego area, if you guys are from the San Diego area, you know would know this one. In the morning, it gets traffic because we live right next door to Tijuana, Mexico. People who are from Tijuana come to San Diego to work, and they move up to the north to head up to the north side. It only happens like in the morning, and I think it stops like somewhere around 9 or 10 in the morning, which is a pain in the butt. And the same thing applies when you go backwards. But I'd make a habit try to call ahead and saying, yes, I'm on the way. I will be there as soon as possible. And they know they can rely on me. But when it comes to what these guys did, I feel like they did not do anything. Like they didn't call in saying we can't be able to make it. We don't feel like going, that sort of thing. But I have to say that they did the right choice in, you know, firing them for that. But they brought that mess to themselves. So we'll see what happens with them in the future. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for our news updates. Let's end things right here. So let's just call it a day. Okay, so I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Now, as I said it earlier in the start of this video, it's WrestleMania week. Now, certain things I won't be able to do. Now, for example, those who know me, I just mentioned my regular day job at the end of the news updates. It's going to be a bit more difficult, but I'll try to do the shows that I can possibly do. I know Bloodsport 10 has happened. So is JCW versus the World happened. I don't know about the next days, but I will try to do my best to do everything as possible. I won't be able to do all of it because we do have, since it's going to be Friday, we have Rampage and NXT Level Up. I'll do my best as possible. I won't make any promises to any of you about that. I know some of you would like to hear these reviews, but like I said, I won't make any promises. I'll do the best as I can, as in my ability as possible. So I think that's pretty much it for now. I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.